Since I have some awesome guys on TikTok right now listening, I'm thinking, may I have your opinion, please? What is it with men these days and not wanting to date? Do you guys have a fear of commitment? Is it the woman these days? Does it have anything to do with spending money on women? Does it have anything to do with trust issues? Maybe dating apps? Maybe you feel like there are endless options in terms of significant others? Please let me know in the comments.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll take a look at several cases of women who've hit the wall. First, we'll hear what it's like to date after 35, and trust me, it gets interesting. Then, we'll see women also in their mid to late 30s explaining why being single and child-free is, according to them, a luxury every woman should experience. If you enjoy this content, leave a like and subscribe. We're on our way to 150,000 subscribers, and with your support, we're going to crush that goal. Drop your experience or opinion about these cases in the comments. And without further ado, let's get started.
I'm 36 and I'm dating in Miami, and let me just tell you, this is crazy out here. So I was on my fifth date with this guy. Fifth date with this guy. And he was finally inviting me on his boat. He had talked about his boat a couple of times, like throughout our dating, and he had mentioned a couple times that he has a lot of girls that are friends, which normally would raise a red flag to me. But he was such a gentleman on all the dates. Like, he would pick me up, open the door for me. We would go to nice restaurants, like just a really good guy. Like, no other red flags except for that one thing. Okay, so time for the boat ride, right? Like, I have a bikini and like a cute dress. I wasn't really sure what to expect. Like, he didn't mention any details, so I'd kind of just assumed that it was going to be me and him on the boat. And that was it. Whenever I got on the boat, you guys, no joke, huge boat, 3 stories. He had full staff, like he has a chef, a captain, bartenders, like full staff on the boat. So I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, this looks like there's probably going to be more people. So we get on there, he gets like a drink or whatever, and we're sitting down, we're talking, and I'm not even joking with you right now. My ex's brother from Chicago walks on to the boat. And I'm thinking in my head, oh my fucking God. And I don't think he recognized me because I have blonde hair now. I was brunette whenever I knew him. And so he's like, hi, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. We start talking, and then I see it click in his head that he realizes who I am.
Stop it. Get some help.
The guy mentioned several times that he has a lot of female friends, which would normally be a huge red flag. But since he later revealed he owns a boat, we'll let it slide this time. Because let's be honest, having a boat in Miami is no small thing. Besides, let's be real, at 36, she can't exactly afford to be too picky either. Although more than surprise, I think what she really felt was straight-up fear when her ex's brother showed up on the boat. Just imagine the situation. This guy could tell the new man some rumor about her being a gold digger or something like that. But anyway, let's keep going and see how this all turns out.
But he just kind of like played along, thankfully. Next people who walk on the boat are his daughter and his daughter's friend. And she's like 20 years old. I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I'm going to meet his kids. Like, he didn't even give me a heads up. So I meet his daughter. Thank God she's really nice. But I'm kind of like feeling a little bit stressed out. Like, I want to get off of this boat at this point. Then his son gets on the boat with his son's girlfriend. More of his friends get on the boat. And then, so like, there's a couple of couples on the boat. And then these 3 really hot girls get on the boat. No fucking way. And they're like all at the bar talking to him, like surrounding him, and I'm like over talking to his daughter. I'm like, whatever, like there's nothing I can do about it. I might as well just like enjoy my time on the boat and just like step back and be an observer in the situation. So as the boat ride goes on, it's like hot and cold between him and I. He comes up to me and he's like, "Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was just a little bit overwhelmed because I wasn't expecting to like meet your kids or like meet all of your friends on this boat ride." And he was like, "Oh, did you think it was just gonna be us?" And I was like, I just didn't know. And he's like, "Oh, okay." So then like he took some time like with just me and him, which was nice. But by the end of the boat ride, they're all doing like karaoke, and there is this really hot karaoke girl on the boat ride and like flirting with him. We have dinner on the boat and she sits next to him. You guys, it was so, she's like flirting with him right in front of me. Like she didn't give a fuck. Like she was flirting with him. It was so awkward. And after that, I couldn't do it. I can't see him again. It was just too weird. And I felt like kind of offended over it. And I feel like he should have given me a heads up. So let me know what you think.
It's funny because it's true.
Woman, let's be honest. You're dating a guy who owns a 3-story yacht in Miami. Of course, he was going to have options. Like Andrew Tate said, a man gets a boat after years of hard work. A woman just needs to look pretty to get on one. Did you really think all those women weren't going to try to get the owner's attention? It's only logical. They're doing exactly what you probably would have done a few years ago. What happened here is that you thought you had the situation under control until you realized you were just one more of those friends he mentioned from the start. He didn't do anything wrong. On the contrary, he was upfront. Now, the fact that it bothered you to see younger girls openly flirting with him is a different story, but he's simply enjoying the options he has. You can't blame the guy for other women flirting with him. It's part of the deal when you're dating someone successful.
Oh, I'm shaking. I just got home from a date. We were going to an event and dinner. We did not make it to dinner. We did not make it to dinner. He just dropped me off at home. I'm back home. I've been gone for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm back home. And I have a friend coming to pick me up right now. I just asked him to take me home. I just asked him to take me home. You know the amount of times I have wanted to do that while on a date and I didn't, and I just sat there and grinned and bared it. A guy does something or says something or is something that I just don't jive with, and I stick around because it's the polite thing to do. No more. No more of that, girls. I finally just said, look, I have to be really honest. You just did this thing that is really not my vibe and it's turning me off, and I don't think I can make it to dinner with you. To his credit, he took it really, really well, and he said, okay, I actually completely understand. Thank you for telling me, and let's go ahead and get you home. He also asked me out on another date. Like, no. Come here. This guy's happy. Come on. Come on.
Woman, you're pushing 40 and still making demands like you're 20. What you need is a reality check. With age comes tolerance, and chances are that guy said something that didn't quite match your mood or expectations. That's normal when you're just getting to know someone, and usually, you give them the benefit of the doubt. The guy handled it like a gentleman. He stayed calm when you turned him down and even asked for a second date, which I highly doubt will actually happen after that kind of rejection. A self-respecting man doesn't chase after a situation like that, especially when the first date didn't even happen. But hey, this is what happens when a woman hits the wall and still refuses to accept her reality. Because let's be honest, the wall doesn't forgive. Let's see what happens with the next woman in denial.
This is my scolding hot take, and you're either going to be ready to hear this or you're not going to be. Women historically have been slaves. I understand there's different forms of slavery, but women, in the true definition of the word, have been enslaved. Marriage was the act of making women property. Marriage was the way of exchanging women as property. Marriage was the property transfer of a woman between her father and her husband. Regardless of how you feel about it, that's the fact. That was the original purpose of marriage as a construct. The reason why you see divorce rates rise is because women finally have agency over whether or not we stay in these marriages. The reason why you're seeing marriage rates and birth rates decline is because for the first time in human history, women have had more agency than we've ever had on whether or not we get married in the first place and whether or not we decide to have children. There is a reason why women have been socially conditioned into believing that if if we don't have children, or if we're not married, or a man didn't choose us, that's like the biggest insult to our identity or our value as human beings. I personally disagree with the entire construct of marriage. I believe that marriage signifies the ownership of women, and I disagree with it as a concept as a whole. And if you're not new to my page, you know that I have no intention of ever getting married. I relish in the idea of being single. I do not want to have any children. And I relish in the idea that for the first time, I'm one of the first generations of women who have the freedom to not participate in any of those things. So to me, not only is it not an insult to my identity and does not dictate my worthiness as a human being, it is a privilege that I get to choose not to get married. It is a privilege that I get to choose not to have children. And I believe that as a woman, you should avoid getting married. You should avoid having children. I think if you are even remotely on the fence about any of those concepts, you need to avoid it. Marriage benefits men, and having children benefits the patriarchy. I'm not saying that no one should have children, or that's where it gets kind of like muddy. Like, I think that marriage does have protections for women who do want to have children, or for women who are with a partner who's great. There are legal protections around that marriage works in favor for. But as a general concept, I think marriage represents the enslavement of women.
This is what I call the classic denial phase. When a woman racks up failed relationships and dates that lead nowhere, instead of doing some self-reflection and realizing she might be the problem, she'd rather blame the patriarchy and label marriage as a form of slavery. It's an easy excuse to avoid responsibility and not look inward. The reality is clear. Over 80% of divorces are filed by women. These days, many see marriage not as a stable union, but as a convenient way to fund their lifestyle. While men are still judged by their financial stability, women are judged by beauty, youth, and fertility. Women like this tend to chase the complete package guy, completely ignoring the average man, who, by the way, is the majority. In the end, they end up alone because no one can meet their inflated expectations. And when they hit the wall, they fall into these kinds of narratives, trying to share their frustration. But anyway, let's keep watching and see how this story unfolds.
I think marriage represents, and this is just the way it is. This isn't my opinion. This is what it's been historically. Marriage represents the ownership of property that is women. Marriage is a huge deal, and especially as a woman, if you are at all on the fence about getting married, you need to not get married. Fuck the soft life shit. Fuck the not doing anything with your life. Fuck not making your own money. You need to make your own money. That is a privilege. That is a blessing that you live in a time where you can make your own money and you can make something out of your own life. Do not trade this privilege that women have fought for a G-Wagon or for trips to Erewhon. You are worth so much more than that. Your life is worth so much more than that. You live in a time unlike any other in human history. There are women before you who would have given anything to be able to have the opportunities that you have today. They would have given anything. If you marry a rich man, your life will be controlled by him. Your quality of life is going to be dictated by that man. Your relationship may look a certain way today, but it could be very different 10 years from now. It could be very different after you have 4 of his children. It's not worth the Chanel bags. It's not worth the Cartier bracelets. It's not worth the fancy vacations. This is your one life. This is your independence. This is your autonomy. Please just think very long and hard before you enter these contracts, because getting out of marriage, going through a divorce is a fucking grueling process. Co-parenting with somebody who is being difficult, who is trying to control you, is a all-consuming process. You need to really understand what you're signing up for when you do that. This is not something that you do unless you are absolutely sure Again, it's super nuanced, and there are legal protections that work in women's favor when it comes to marriage. But if I were to give you any kind of advice, avoid getting married, make your own money, do your own thing with your life. Do not put all your eggs in the basket of a man. Because once you get married and once you have those children, everything is different. You do not have that same freedom anymore. You will not have that same opportunity anymore. You can still make it happen. And there are women who their children are like the best thing. It's like, I totally understand. I respect that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be very hard and it's going to be very different. Being single and childless is a fucking flex. Okay? It is. It's much better than being in a grueling divorce, being in an unhappy marriage, being controlled by a man, or having to co-parent with someone who's fucking crazy. Please just take this seriously. Okay?
Fuck up, you crazy bitch whore!
You see what I'm saying? When you hear something like, being single is a damn luxury, it's clear she still hasn't figured out how life really works. She ignores the fact that times have changed. There are women happily raising kids at home, successful women leading companies, or building empires alongside their partners. Not every woman sees marriage as a prison. Some see it as an opportunity to grow with someone. She also talks as if all married women were happier when they were single. But if that were true, we wouldn't see so many videos of single women crying on social media, popping antidepressants, or going to therapy because they feel their lives have no meaning or direction. Another thing she completely overlooks is that not all single women are living some wildly successful life. Plenty of them literally thank God for finding a man because they were on the edge of poverty. Others are just one illness away from total misery, with no kids or partner to support them. But of course, that part of the story never gets told, because at the end of the day, misery loves company.
Women.
We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think about the women who've hit the wall and are now selling the idea of eternal solitude? Do you think it's really a luxury for men and women to live their whole lives alone? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.